All right, guys. So I've had a few people reach out to me asking me for my Bitcoin budget template sheet. So I've gone ahead and put something together so that I can share with you guys a link, and you guys can go ahead and receive this sheet from me, and you guys can follow along with me every single week exactly how I do it, my budgeting, and my weekly strategy for DCAing into Bitcoin. And you can actually use the exact same sheet that I use and showcase in every single week's video, right? So this video today is going to be a tutorial exactly how to use the Bitcoin budget template sheet. Okay, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly what every page has or what every sheet has, the different features that are included in the sheet, and how you can implement the sheet into your weekly budgeting strategy. Okay, so going forward, if you want a sheet from me, all you have to do is in the comments on the YouTube video, just type the word sheet, and then I'll go ahead and send you a link. Right, when you receive that link, you just click on the link. It'll prompt you to a landing page. You go ahead and put your name, your email. As soon as you put that in, you'll receive an email from me just saying to confirm that you want this sheet. Once you confirm that, the sheet will automatically download into your computer, right? And so when you open up the sheet, the first thing you're going to see is this page, this README first page. And I wanted to walk through this because it's very important that you guys understand this sheet and what exactly it's doing, and the possible prompts that you may get when you go ahead and open up the sheet. And I want to just be super clear and transparent on this from now so that there isn't any fear or concern when you're opening up your sheet. Okay, so this sheet that we have, the Bitcoin budget template, it pulls live Bitcoin price, right? And I've gone over that in a few of our videos that we do every week. Is the sheet does pull the live Bitcoin price, right? So that means every time you open up the sheet, you will see the actual Bitcoin price in the moment. And that Bitcoin price will update within the sheet every 10 minutes, okay? Or anytime you click the refresh button, it'll go ahead and update in your sheet, which is really cool because it also connects to other cells and will update other cells as well as that price changes, right? So your profit and losses, for example, will be updated dependent on the actual Bitcoin price in the moment. So that's a really cool feature about this sheet. It'll also calculate your weighted averages, etc. There's a lot of cool features with that. Your target goal as well, right? So if you have a target goal of X amount of Bitcoin within a certain amount of time, it'll calculate that based off the current Bitcoin price. So there's a lot of cool features with having the live Bitcoin price in this sheet. The issue with having the live Bitcoin price is that the Microsoft Excel sees that and says, well, there's an external data source being pulled here to be able to function, or for this sheet to be able to work the way that it works, right? So that live Bitcoin price, because it's being pulled from an external data source, which is CoinGecko.com, Microsoft gives you a prompt immediately saying that there's an external data source and that could potentially be a security concern. It isn't, because again, I'm pulling from CoinGecko.com, and which is a very known and secure website, and we're solely pulling the live Bitcoin price. Microsoft is flagging it because they're seeing just an external data source in general, right? And that is true. External data sources, depending on where they are and what they are, could be a potential security concern. In this case, it is not, because we are again pulling from CoinGecko.com, a very secure and trusted and known website, number one. And number two, we're solely just pulling the live Bitcoin price. There's nothing else being pulled from an external data source. So I want to be really upfront, transparent with you guys from now that if you open up the sheet, you will most likely see some kind of warning from Microsoft Office giving you that type of prompt. All you need to do is click the OK button or the enable button, or one of those that come up, and you'll be able to go ahead and move forward with the Bitcoin price. So that's with the Bitcoin live price, excuse me. So that's kind of what this is explaining. I just wanted to make that very clear. That's why I put it up here in warning, read me first in big bright red letters, right? So you guys can go through this, make sure that you feel comfortable going forward, that there's nothing that's being hidden, or there's no weird security concern issues that you're going to have with this sheet. It is just a prompt that is coming up from Microsoft Office. Okay. Had I known that this was going to happen, I probably would have done it on Google Sheets, but I've already created the sheet on Microsoft Office, Excel, and so I'm just going to go ahead and move forward and send this out. I'll probably work on a Google Sheet later and see if that works any differently, just to work around this issue. But for right now, if anybody wants this sheet, you're most likely going to get this prompt. All you have to do is click OK. And again, I provide a whole breakdown here of why there's nothing to worry about with this sheet. Everything is safe. It's a safe connection. It's a public read-only price data connection. So there's nothing about personal or sensitive information included. There's nothing to be concerned about when, again, we're pulling from an external data source that is trusted like CoinGecko. Okay. So then again, I'll walk you through here how to enable that live price. You just literally have to click enable content, allow, or okay, just depending on the prompt that you get. And then that'll go ahead and let you have the live Bitcoin price in your sheet, which again has a lot of benefits if you really want to follow along every single week and have your sheet updated fully every time you open up your sheet. So it's really, really a cool feature. But I completely understand if there are some of you that don't feel comfortable proceeding with this workbook because it has that prompt, and you have to be okay with the quote unquote security concern that Microsoft Office is stating it has, because we're pulling from an external data source. So if you're not comfortable opening up the sheet with the live Bitcoin price, you can go ahead and send me an email. I have my email written right here. It's bitcoinblueprintconsulting@gmail.com. If you send me an email there and just put in the body or in the subject sheet V2, I'll go ahead and send you a static version of this workbook, right? Which will just be basically the same exact workbook. The only difference is that you will not have the live Bitcoin price, and then that will remove some of the other features like the P&L calculations and a couple other things that the live Bitcoin price is connected with within the sheet. Okay. But again, I completely understand if you're not comfortable opening it up, just go ahead and send me an email saying sheet V2, which will be the static version, and that'll be just a standard version without any external source. So we're not pulling from anything from the internet, and that way you won't get that prompt. Okay. So again, guys, I just wanted to walk you through that because again, it could be scary if you're opening up a sheet from someone on the internet like me, and all of a sudden you're starting to get all these security prompts from Microsoft. I can definitely see how that could be scary, right? So I just want to make sure you guys understand what it is that you're seeing, why that's happening, and that there's really nothing to be concerned about. Again, pulling from CoinGecko, it's an external data source, and that's just Microsoft doing its job and trying to protect you in case there really is something wrong with something that someone's trying to send you. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the actual sheet now, walk you guys through exactly how the sheet works. Okay, so first thing, when you open up the sheet, you enable the editing to allow the live Bitcoin price. You're going to go ahead and click start categories. And what this is going to do here is you're going to see this initial page. And so this initial page is just to list out your expenses, your spending, your debt payments, your savings and investments, just getting everything organized. We're not looking at numbers here. We're just looking at the actual things that you're currently paying for, right? So monthly fixed expenses, what that's going to be is like a fixed cost that you have every single month, a static, consistent cost. For example, if you have rent, you pay rent at the same price every single month, you're going to put that there. If you have a car payment, you're going to put that there, right? If you have a phone payment, you're going to put that there, right? And these are things that are consistent that you cannot not pay, right? You need these things to live, and they're a consistent fixed payment, okay? So I'm going to leave like that. Let's just do that to make it very simple. Your rent, your car, your phone. Those are your fixed monthly expenses. Discretionary spending is going to be things that have variable, but you budget for them, right? For example, your groceries for the month. You budget, an X amount of groceries that you're going to spend for every single month. I'll give you mine. Mine is usually $400. Oh, sorry about that. Actually, it's $400 is what I spend, but groceries is what I'm going to put here. My apologies. So you're going to put $100, but you'll see that 400 go into the next sheet. So you're going to put here groceries. You could put here your gym. Again, this isn't something that that you have to spend, like a fixed monthly expense. It's something that you decide to spend, and if you want to cancel it any day, you can. And your groceries, again, could be a variable, right? So let's just say groceries, gym, going out, you have a budget for, and we'll just keep it as simple as that, okay? Your debt payments, you can say something like credit card, right? That'll be a debt payment that you have every single month that you want to have a budget for. And then you can say, well, I have student loan. And we'll put that there as a debt payment that you're consistently paying into. All right. And then in savings and retirement, so you're going to go ahead and put your personal savings, whatever that may be. If you're doing your own, let's say we're putting away a house real estate savings, right? Let's say we put away a little bit into a Roth IRA. And let's say we do a little bit into a 401k. Okay. And so we'll list that out there, and we'll go ahead and have all that listed on the next sheet, the financial deep dive. But that's what you want to put into this sheet, right? You just want to categorize what your expenses and your investments are, your debts, everything, so that you're very clear as to what it is that you're actually paying every single month, and you can kind of list that out here and prepare it for the next sheet. Okay, and what you'll see here is in the instructions, anything that's in this color, right, this orangey color, is the only area you're going to be able to edit, right? Everything else is blocked. You can't edit anything else. There's nothing that isn't in these colors that you cannot that you can edit. So you don't have to be, as this is not a delicate sheet. You can mess around with it, play with it. You can go ahead and if you mess something up and you hit the backspace, nothing's going to happen. Everything's locked and secured. The only thing that's editable are these orange spaces. Okay. So again, what you're going to list here is your expenses, your spending, your debt payments, and these are kind of the categories and how that works. All right. And then once you've done that, you're going to actually jump into the financial deep dive sheet, which is where you guys see me live basically. Every time we do a video, we're in either the financial deep dive sheet or we're in the accumulation log sheet. And I'll walk you through both of those. But every single month, at the beginning of the month, I'll do the start category sheet, and I'll make sure that my spending is either the same or if I've added anything, right? Next month, what you'll see in the beginning of September when I do the September budget, I've added a few expenses that I'm going to go ahead and start putting towards in the sheet, right? So that will be shown on that video in September. So once we jump here in the financial deep dive, we're all set. What you'll see here is that you've plugged into these in the monthly expenses, you plugged in the fixed expenses in the start categories, and they automatically populate here, right? Your rent, your car, your phone. That's coming and pulling from right here. Monthly fixed expense, your rent, your car, your phone. Okay? So it automatically pulls into the financial deep dive sheet, your rent, your car, your phone, and it does that across every single spending that you have. Okay? So it's a really cool, it's very simple. You just plug it in there, you're categorized, and then it automatically organizes it here for you in the financial deep dive sheet. All right? So now that that's all set, you'll see here you've got in your savings and expenses, your real estate, Roth, credit card, student loan and debt payments, groceries, gym going out, indiscretionary spending, and rent car payment. Awesome. We're all set. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to plug in our actual income. What income do we make every single month? Okay. And I do this post-tax, right? So I'm not taking my actual pre-tax income. I'm taking my post-tax, what my actually take-home pay, right? So I'm going to just put random numbers in here for today. But again, every single Friday, I'll walk you through my sheet, and my sheet is my actual numbers that I have, and my income, my investments, my spending, etc. I have the actual numbers of mine every single month, so you guys can follow along with that. Okay, but for today, we're gonna just put in random numbers. So my income, I'm gonna say it's $5,000, right? And so you'll see immediately as you plug in that 5,000, number one, you get this total right here, but you also get this cool donut graph that starts to come up here. And what you'll see is that it's right now just pulling two data points. It's pulling number one, your income, which is $5,000, which is all of this. And then it's also telling you, well, of your income, you have $5,000 in leftover monthly cash flow, which is this orange. Obviously, it thinks that right now because we haven't plugged in any expenses or any savings and investment monthly allocations or anything like that, right? So of course right now the sheet believes that we have $5,000 in income, and that means we have $5,000 in leftover monthly cash flow. As we start to plug in more stuff, you'll see how this graph starts to update itself, and you guys can follow along with that as well. So we're going to jump into savings and investments. Let's say every single month we save $150 towards real estate. We want to buy a property, we want to buy whatever, and so, or an apartment, we go ahead and put $150 a month towards that. Towards a Roth IRA, let's say we put away $250 every single month, and into a 401k we also do another $200, right? So now you'll see as you started to plug that in, a couple things happen, right? Number one is this donut graph starts to incorporate a new color, this gray color, which is your savings and investments. So you can actually see that in a visual way through this donut graph. So now you've got, again, your income, your leftover monthly cash flow, which is now $4,400, and you have $600 in investments that you do aside. So automatically now you'll see in this summary that your savings, right, which is your savings and investments, you're putting away $600. And so now you have a leftover monthly cash flow of $4,400. Okay? And so you're going to just keep doing that, and you'll see as you do that, these things get populated, right? So for rent, let's say we have a $2,000 rent. Okay? And so we have a $2,000 rent. We also have, let's say, a $350 car payment, and we pay $80 on our phone. Okay? Right then and there, you see that you have a new part here in the bar graph. In the donut graph that starts to fill in the fixed expenses that you have, right? Same thing, the cash flow as well. You'll see that your monthly fixed expenses total out to $2,430. You also see it down here in the totals, which is really cool. But yeah, it comes out to $2,430, and now you have a leftover monthly cash flow of $1,970. Awesome. Now let's say for groceries for the month, we put away $400. Okay? And we put away $80. I don't want to say $80. Let's say $50 for the gym. And we do another, if we're being realistic, let's just do $300 going out, right? That we spend, going drinking with our friends, whatever the case. You'll see again, you get another little inclusion here in the donut graph of discretionary spending. It sums it up, and you got, again, your leftover monthly cash flow after that's said and done. Now you've got your credit card. Let's say here that you spend $300 on your credit card, and you have a student loan, and you pay $70 a month towards that every single month. Okay? Awesome. So now you see again, you've got that filled out. You've got the full donut graph showing you every single expense that you have from discretionary spending, debt payments, everything showing, and then your leftover monthly cash flow, which again is this orange. Let me scroll up here. This orange part of the donut graph. Okay, which right now is 9%. Right. What's really cool about this is that you can start to look at your actual numbers and say, wow, maybe I'm spending too much on going out. Right. Maybe I need to cut this back a little bit and see what I can do to be able to go out a little less. So I'm going to say, well, I'm going to do 150, and how that changes everything. Now I've got actually $1,000 left over. Awesome. Maybe instead of spending $400 in groceries, maybe I'm buying too much crap. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this down to 300, right? And you'll see how your numbers start to change. And so when you lay this out really clearly, it starts to help you out a lot, because you start to realize, man, I'm spending a lot more than I should be on certain things, right? And to be honest with you, this is a really, really good, I feel like this is a really fair budget plan for anyone that has it. Something similar to this. But if you notice, you'll see that some numbers, they might be astronomical, and just like, wow, I didn't realize I was spending $1,000 a month on my credit card, or $1,500 a month on your credit card. Now you can start to fix those issues once you see them coming up, right? So that's super important. Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna put this at 200, because we need to be realistic. At least where I live in Florida, it's South Florida, it's very expensive. So now you've got a really clear vision as to how much leftover monthly cash flow you have, right? You have $1,050 left over in the month to do whatever you want, right? Again, you can put that towards doubling down, paying your student loan, paying off any debts that you have, whatever. Maybe you want to pay down your car faster, whatever it is that you want to do. But again, this is a Bitcoin channel, and we are trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. That's the number one thing, in my opinion. I think Bitcoin will continue to grow at an accelerated rate in comparison to really any interest rate that's out there. So I think putting your money towards Bitcoin is actually just going to help you pay things off actually faster, right? So you're building out basically a Bitcoin savings plan with this sheet. And so now that you know that you have, well, I have $1,050 left over monthly cash flow, now you come over here to this savings and BTC allocation plan. You've already got all your expenses laid out, your spending, your income, all of that good stuff, right? And you realize, well, I have money to play with, and I can see what I can do to build out my Bitcoin portfolio, build out a savings plan with Bitcoin. What can I possibly do? So now you see here in the savings and BTC allocation plan, you have available for BTC investing monthly $1,050, which is your monthly leftover cash flow, right? Your recommended BTC percent allocation, this is your choice, right? You can decide, well, you know what, of that 1,050, I want to invest only 50% a month, okay? And the other 50%, I want to blow it on whatever I want. I want to go out more. I want to pay it towards my car. I want to, get myself, do a trip somewhere, whatever. You can decide that as you see fit. And you can decide that on a percentage basis, which is really makes everything much easier, right? You can say, well, you know what, of that, I want to take 50% and actually invest only $525 into Bitcoin this month. Right? So you can do it that way and set that up in this area right here, and decide how much you want to actually allocate of your leftover monthly cash flow into Bitcoin. If you watch my my weekly videos, I do 100%, right? I'm always doing 100% because I want to take whatever's left over once I've paid off everything that I needed to and put that into my Bitcoin savings plan, because I do believe Bitcoin. Well, I've seen it. I don't know why I'm saying I believe it. I've been doing this for 6 years, and I've seen it double and triple my portfolio in a way that I never thought would happen. And so I know that Bitcoin as a savings tool is super powerful, right? So for me, it's 100%. So let's leave it at the 100%. Let's say, yeah, you know what? We want to invest $1,050 every single month once the cash flow is calculated into Bitcoin. Awesome. Now we know how much we're going to invest. The next thing we want to do is jump down here into this BTC progress. And we're going to say, well, I'm starting my journey today, right? We're going to start setting some targets, some goals that we think that we can reach within the short term, so that we can kind of celebrate those goals as we go, right? So first thing you're going to do is you're going to put in, when are you starting to allocate towards Bitcoin? What's your start date to starting this program, right? So today is August 12th, 2025, excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there, okay? Then you're going to set a target BTC goal. That could be anything you want, right? I have here 0.1 automatically, right? If you see me put 0, you'll see how this graph here changes. If you put 0, right, everything kind of switches up here, right? Why that is, I'll show you now in a minute. But basically, anything that you set up here in this target BTC goal is going to affect these graphs. So right now it's showing 0 for a couple reasons. Number one, it changes here for a couple reasons. This graph right here, what you're seeing is your target BTC goal, right? Your starting BTC holdings, right? Which right now is 0 as well. You'll see it down here. And your total BTC holdings. Okay? So this is showing as 0.01400, and I'll show you why in the accumulation log in a second. But the first thing you want to do here is let's set the goal. Let's say we want to do 0.000, let's just do 0.01. Let's do that. Okay, so now we set 0.01, a really simple, easy goal. I think that's like a little bit more than $1,000 into Bitcoin. All right, so your target BTC goal has been set, and you'll notice here it says 0.01. Now again, if I change this to 0.02, you'll see how everything changes. This number changed to 0.02, right? So the graph will be automatically changed depending on that, okay? So we're going to put here 0.01 just to start it off, and we'll go through that. So next thing you'll see down here is your starting BTC holdings. This is 0, right? This is assuming that you have no BTC holdings when you started this journey, right? When you started with this sheet. Now, if you do have a certain amount of Bitcoin that you already have from before, you bought a month ago or you bought a year ago or whatever the case may be, you'll put that in here, right? So we'll say, all right, I have, you know what, I've already saved 0.001 Bitcoin. All right, you're going to put that in there. And so it'll show right here, oh, okay, I already had a starting point with Bitcoin, and that's what it was. I had a 0.001. And so as you start to add more Bitcoin in your accumulation log, it'll total it out to how much you currently have in total from what you had from before, plus what you're accumulating from now going forward. I hope that makes sense. So it's able, by putting this in, you're able to calculate the actual total Bitcoin that you have from before you started with a sheet until today, when you actually started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that as for now as 0.001 just to show that. And so now you'll see that again, you have your goal of 0.01 Bitcoin. You started with the 0.0001, and your total BTC holdings is now 0.0150. Okay. This total BTC holdings is being affected by an accumulation that I already added in here for you guys to see. So I'll go through that now in a second, and we'll jump back and forth just so you can see that better. Okay. So that's that, right? Just to be very clear is how that's how that works. Now, with that being said, what we see here is we have this monthly investment USD that we already agreed that we were going to go ahead and put in for this month. Okay. And so that monthly investment is being pulled from up here. If you change this to 50%, for example, that's going to change here, right? So that's very important, and you'll see why in a second, but you go ahead and leave that at 100%, and we're going to have there 1,050. Okay, that's what we agreed that we were going to go ahead and put towards Bitcoin for this month. We have the estimated exchange rate, and again, this is based off of, it varies based on the network congestion and exchanges. But with Kraken, you're going to get, somewhere between, I think, 0.1% for every single investment that you do. So in total, you'll probably be around here, right? $10.50 in the exchange fee when you invest $1,050. Okay, so that's just an estimate of how much you're going to pay in exchange fees. Okay, and the reason why we do all this is so that we can calculate a target goal, right? So once you've plugged in all of that BTC progress and what it is that you're going to do and your target BTC goal of 0.01, the next thing that's going to happen here is in the auto calculated section, you're going to see, okay, well, based off of how much total BTC holdings I have and my target goal, right? My BTC remaining to hit my goal is 0.009, right? And so my purchase target is 0.008, right? And that's based off this 1,050. So then that means it'll take me about a little bit more than a month to be able to hit my goal, right? Based off of the investment that I'm putting in and my current goal of 0.01. All right. So basically, when you put in this buy for the month, it will you'll basically be almost at your goal. Okay. Let's say I change this to 50%. You'll see how all of that changes down here. Now you've auto calculated because you're putting in half of what you were initially agreed to put in. It's actually going to take you now 2 months to get to your goal. And again, this is assuming that Bitcoin's price does not change. Now, Bitcoin's live price is right here. And this is the whole prompt that I was telling you in the beginning for the read me first. This is the reason why we're getting that prompt for Microsoft Excel. It's all because of this cell right here, because it is giving you a live Bitcoin price. So if I go ahead and refresh this sheet, you'll see how this number gets updated. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. And right there, you just saw it went from 889 to 409, right? And that's what's really cool about this sheet, because that actually changes everything as well in the auto calculated section. How long it's going to take me to hit my goal, my monthly BTC purchase, because this is calculated based off of the live price, and how much Bitcoin you need to get to be able to hit your target. Okay, your percentage to your goal as well also gets affected by that update. Right now, this could look better as if Bitcoin price falls. It could look worse as Bitcoin's price goes up. But it is a very cool feature to have with the live Bitcoin price, so that you can actually set target goals and know how long it's going to take you to get there, right? So it's really, really cool. And then again, here at the bottom, you have your recommended BTC buy for this month, which is basically just the calculation of how much you're investing, right? So if I put 100% here, you'll see how that gets updated. This is how much is recommended to buy in BTC terms, right? Not just in dollar terms, in BTC terms, based off of the actual live Bitcoin price and how much you're investing for the month. This is how much Bitcoin you should accumulate by the end of the month, okay? And again, you'll see here, based on today's Bitcoin's price and your deep dive, right? Your deep dive is all of this budgeting that you just did, right? As your budgeting changes, let's say we change this to $4,500, right? Everything changes, okay? Because of, again, the 100% here is no longer 100%. 100% is 550 now. It's not the 1,000 that you had before, okay? So I wanted to make that really, really clear for you guys. It is a really intuitive sheet. It's very cool, and it's so easy to use, okay? It's literally just plugging into the orange spaces, and the sheet does the rest. And so it's a really fun and easy sheet to use, and it's cool to watch your progress as you start to accumulate more and more Bitcoin. Now, this last graph here is also really cool. You'll see how this is actually affected by the accumulation log. And so what you'll see here in this graph is you have this long orange line. That's actually your target BTC goal. So it's just showing you your target, this same thing, just in a different graph setting, right? So now you have it on a bar graph going vertical in this case, and you just see that this is your target goal. And as you start to accumulate and add into your accumulation log, it'll start to show you these graphs and what dates you set for those graphs. So it's really cool. I'll show you now when we jump back and forth, and then as you get to closer to your target, you'll see these graphs grow. So really, really cool. So that's it for the financial deep dive. Again, it's a really intuitive sheet. It's really fun and easy to use, and straightforward, guys. I'm telling you. And again, my favorite my favorite feature is this live Bitcoin price. It was not easy to be able to get that set up, and so it is really cool because it just keeps the entire sheet basically like a live active sheet, right? It's a living sheet, which is really fun. And one more last thing I didn't mention, something simple, kind of stupid, but whatever. You can always change the year, so this can keep going and going and going, and it'll update itself here as you do that. So whatever year you're starting with this, whenever you're watching this, you can go ahead and do that, and it sets that up. So you've got the full bar, the donut graph. You have a couple bar graphs here, so you have some visuals, and then you actually see your monthly cash flow, and you can start to set up your Bitcoin allocation plan. So it's really cool, and the target sheet is great too. Set up your target, know how long it's going to take you to get there, and then just start working towards that goal. So then that's it for the financial deep guys sheet. Let's jump into the accumulation log next, and you'll see a couple things here that's I think are really cool. So when you download the sheet, immediately I'll have an example purchase here set up so that you guys can see it and know exactly what you need to do. But if you're just starting, you can go ahead and delete this. You don't have to delete it. I would just replace it. Replace this example with your actual buy. So let's say that today you started your Bitcoin journey, your Bitcoin savings plan, and so today you made your first Bitcoin buy. And so I'm going to go ahead and say, all right, I made my first Bitcoin buy today. I'm going to replace this with 12/20/25. Let me get rid of this. It's no longer an example. I bought it on, let's say I bought it on Kraken. I'm going to plug that in there. I'm going to put the invested amount that I'm investing. Let's say in this case, I went ahead and bought what I agreed to buy for the month. I said I'm going to buy $1,050. So then that's what I'm going to go ahead and say that I invested. $1,050, and the fee was $10.50. That left me with an actual invested amount of $1,039.50, right? Because you invested $1,050 minus the $10.50 fee, you actually invested $1,039.50 into Bitcoin. Now this column here, in order for there not to be any errors in the sheet, leave these $100,000 prices. Just leave any price here. It doesn't matter if it's 100 or whatever. Just leave it a price, because if you put it here at 0, you'll see how things start to get messed up, right? And you'll see that it's based on the accumulative. You start to see that you get all of these error messages basically. So I put in here 100,000, right? And just leave leave a number there so that the sheet can calculate your accumulative, and we'll go through that now. So let's say you bought at the Bitcoin price, you bought it today at, what is it, $119, 119,000, let's say, right? And so now it'll calculate, well, you bought 0.0087 worth of Bitcoin, and you have a profit and loss of 3.57, right? Based off of, again, the live Bitcoin price that we're calculating, okay? And so what's really cool about the sheet is you can actually log in every single buy that you make, and you can see the actual profit and losses in real time of what you're making based off of the live Bitcoin price that we have here, okay? And then it starts to accumulate also how much Bitcoin you've been able to stack over time. And this last column here is your overall goal. So again, we set an overall goal of 0.01 in the financial deep dive. All right, let me jump back here real quick so you guys can see this. We set the target BTC goal of 0.01. In the accumulation log, it'll auto-populate right here that this is your target goal, okay? And so as you start to put in more Bitcoin buys, you'll see your BTC accumulative start to add up. So it's really cool. So I'm also going to let's do another buy just to say, all right, I made another buy on, let's just say I did it on the next, 2 days. I went ahead and bought on Coinbase. That's fine. And I bought another $500, and it was $5 exchange fee. And this time I bought it at $112,000 because the price dipped, and I thought, you know what, I want to buy. So now you'll see again your profit and loss is showing, your BTC accumulative just added up, right, from what you bought. And again, you're already past your overall goal. Really, really cool. But my favorite part about this is what you'll see up here in this BTC results. So you had a starting BTC holding of 0.001, right? That was again pulled from you bought a year ago, you decided to plug it in, and that's what's pulling here. So then you'll see here your total Bitcoin purchase from Journey Start is how much you've actually bought since you started accumulating on this sheet. So it's actually going ahead and adding up your actual BTC purchased amount, your cumulative. I'm sorry, here your cumulative that's showing here. That's what's showing right here. Okay. And then your actual invested amount is how much you've actually invested into Bitcoin. This is really cool because you don't see how much you thought you invested. You actually see after the exchange fees how much you've been able to accumulate or allocate towards Bitcoin. All right. And then the total Bitcoin accumulated again is what's coming out there. And what my favorite feature right here is this right here, this weighted average of Bitcoin. So this is a formula that's actually taking how much you invested and at what price, and then determining the average weight of how much you've put into Bitcoin. So if you've put in $1,000 at 119 and you put in $500 at 112,000, it's calculating those based off of how much you invested and at what Bitcoin price and your average Bitcoin price buy-in, right? So let's say you have an average buy-in at 116,000 and Bitcoin is worth 150,000. You can take that average and say, well, I've averaged to buy it at 116,000, so I'm doing really well, right? Or let's say Bitcoin drops to 90,000 and you're at $116,000 weighted average. You might want to start to buy more to bring down this weighted average into a lower number, right? So that's a really cool feature. That's something that I learned over time, that as I started to invest more and more in Bitcoin. If you don't know my story, I invested a lot in Bitcoin in 2020. And then when it shot up in 2021 into the 60s, I kept buying and buying, and I was putting bigger buys in because I was all excited and I had the euphoria of the market. And then Bitcoin crashed. Now I had at that point what would be considered a high average, right? I was probably in the $50,000 weighted Bitcoin average. What I ended up doing was during the entire bear market, I kept stacking, and so my weighted average over time started to come down, right? So I was at that $50,000 range, and as I started to accumulate more and more Bitcoin, I was able to bring that down into the $30,000 range over time. So this is a really good feature to have, so that you know where you're at in terms of a weighted average in Bitcoin price. Really cool feature. And again, the live Bitcoin price is doing a lot of the pulling and setting up targets and setting up everything here for you. So that's really it, guys. It's really simple. As you start to put some stuff in here, you'll see that the accumulation log over time, as you start to have more and more, you can actually use this sheet to show to your accountant at any point. If you start to sell, you can actually use this sheet and say, hey, look, this is when I was buying. This is how much I bought it at. This is what I invested, whatever. And you can work with your accountant and this accumulation log and show them where you're at. So it keeps you super organized with your Bitcoin buys, okay? And then I want to show you one last thing here before we jump off, is when you put in those numbers in the accumulation log, you'll notice here now your BTC accumulation versus goal. I mean, you surpassed your goal on that second buy, right? Your goal was 0.01, which is lined up here. You ended up on your second buy on August 14th. You bought 0.0133, right? You ended up buying and accumulating 0.0133, which is more than your goal on August 14th. Okay. So again, this is the purchase amount and this is the accumulative. So after you've taken this plus this is your accumulation, right? So you'll see right away, this will get updated and you'll start to see. And if you put in another buy, you'll see how this changes. But let's just, for the sake of having, let's just say, well, we've changed our goal to 0.03. Right? Boom, you'll see this gets updated. you have this new 0.03 goal. You have a total BTC holdings based off of the 2 buys that you had plus what you brought in initially, your starting BTC. And now you'll see that your target is here on this one is set up again at 0.03. So let's say we make another little buy for the week, just to show you one last time how this works. You go 18/5/2025. Let's say you bought it on Gemini. You bought $300. Let's say, let's just do $300 worth. Cost you $3. You bought it at one. Let's do something nice. Let's do 109,000. Right? Awesome. You're doing really great. Made these 3 buys. Now you're accumulated 0.016. Your goal is 0.03. Your weighted average changed to 115,000. It actually went down because you bought at 109. So again, that's really cool, man. If I go to, let's say I bought it at 113,000, you'll see how this shoots back up to 116, right? But if I bought it under what I usually buy it at, boom, I've got a better weighted average. Pretty cool. So you've got an accumulation of 0.016. You bought on 8/15. You have 3 buys here, 8/12, 8/14, 8/15. Let's jump into the financial deep dive, and you'll see it right here laid out. You'll see your 8/12 buy set, your 8/14 buy set, and your 8/15 buy set. And then it just is stagnant across the board. This is where you're at accumulation-wise. Okay, as you start to put more buys, these will change, right? So it's a really, really cool and intuitive sheet, guys. Again, all you have to do is plug into the orange spaces. There's not much else for you to do. I did leave you guys a note here just saying keep this column populated with a dollar amount so that you can be able to calculate the other things in here and you don't get that weird error message, okay? But that's really it, guys. It's a really cool sheet. Has, again, that live Bitcoin price, which is super awesome to be able to keep this as basically a sheet that's alive. It's working. Every time you open up the sheet, you'll get a refreshed price. And again, if you just refresh here, you'll see here, boom, it updated from 409 to 436. Everything kind of changes a little bit based off of those changes. So again, if you guys want this sheet and want to follow along with me every single week, go ahead and put sheet in the comment section and I will send you your own sheet. And this is exactly how you would set it up. I literally just walked you through the sheet, a brand new sheet, right, of exactly what you would see as you start to open up the sheet and use it. Okay. And again, just one last reminder, when you're in this read me first section, I know this seems, what did I do here? There we go. I know this seems a bit scary, but again, there's nothing to be concerned about. We are literally just pulling the live Bitcoin price from CoinGecko.com, and that external source, that external data source that we're pulling from is prompting this security notice from Excel, but there is nothing, again, to be concerned about. It is a very normal thing when you're pulling external data sources, and this is a very safe and read-only data source. We're not doing anything crazy here, and I'm with you guys every single week stacking on the same sheet. So again, nothing to be concerned about. So that's really it, guys. That's the tutorial. That's the walkthrough on this sheet. I will include this video in every single new video that I update, and I'll also include the link to access this sheet in the description on every single video going forward, so you guys can also just go ahead and access it yourself. And maybe I'll just do a call out for that every time I do a new video, just let you know that you can access the sheet below, so you don't actually have to comment sheet every single time. So yeah, that's it, guys. I appreciate anybody that's been watching. I'm excited to keep going every single week and having you guys follow along and using the sheet as well. And I hope this helps ease any concerns and get you comfortable with using the sheet. All right, guys, have a great one.